Like, these animators are on shaky ground.
Yes, correct.
What happened with the actor strike? Did they settle that? Is that over?
Rachel Zegler. Her incredibly off-putting personality is not the only thing you will get out of Rachel Zegler while talking to her. She will remind you that she hates Snow White.
Rachel Zegler, the controversial lead of Disney's Snow White remake, has once again found herself at the center of a public firestorm. This time, it's not just her casting or comments about the original 1937 classic that have people talking, but her recent political statement supporting free Palestine. In today's polarized climate, her bold stance has left Disney executives in a state of alarm, fearing the kind of backlash that could lead to a full-scale boycott of the movie. Given the mounting controversies surrounding both the actress and the film, their concerns seem increasingly valid. The drama around Snow White has escalated to such a point that even Joe Rogan, known for discussing everything from UFC fights to alien conspiracies, has weighed in on the chaos. But how did things go so wrong? And where did it all start? Let's rewind and break down the series of missteps that have led Disney into this unprecedented public relations nightmare. The trouble began in August 2024, when Disney released the first teaser for the much-anticipated Snow White remake on YouTube. What should have been a celebratory moment quickly spiraled into a disaster of epic proportions. Within weeks, the teaser became the most disliked movie trailer in YouTube history, amassing nearly 1 million dislikes compared to just 68.
Now that you've told me before that your version of Snow White is different and it's more of a 2022 version of Snow White, what did you mean by that?
I mean, you know, the original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her. And she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can.
8,000 likes. In the first 24 hours alone, the video accumulated 193,000 dislikes, signaling the start of a major PR crisis for Disney. The comment section was equally brutal, with one user mockingly saying, "I came here purely because I saw on Facebook that this video has over 1 million downvotes, and I really wanted to be a part of that community." Another chimed in sarcastically, "Wow, Disney, you truly are incredible. It took you 3 years, multiple rewrites, unnecessary CGI, and $29 million just for me to enjoy the comment section of a movie I'll never watch. Bless you." The overwhelming sentiment was clear. Fans were disillusioned and angry, and they weren't afraid to make their voices heard. The outrage only grew as viewers began to dissect the teaser and the choices that Disney had made in the production of the film. So, what exactly went so catastrophically wrong? According to fans, it was a combination of questionable casting decisions and baffling creative choices. One of the most contentious decisions was Disney's initial plan to replace the beloved Seven Dwarfs with a group of diverse magical creatures. This move was meant to promote inclusivity, but backfired spectacularly when actors with dwarfism called out the studio for excluding them. This misstep sparked widespread criticism, with many accusing Disney of pandering to political correctness at the expense of authenticity. In a desperate attempt to recover, Disney scrapped the magical creatures and pivoted to CGI versions of the Seven Dwarfs. However, the results were far from what fans had hoped for. The CGI characters looked lifeless and awkward, leaving audiences bewildered as to why a live-action remake felt less authentic than the original animated classic. But the controversy surrounding the casting didn't stop there. At the heart of the storm was Rachel Zegler, cast as Snow White herself. Zegler's casting initially sparked a mix of curiosity and cautious optimism. As a rising star with recent success in West Side Story, Some believed she could bring a fresh take to the iconic character. However, her public comments about the original 1937 film soon ignited a firestorm of backlash. In a resurfaced interview, Zegler dismissed the classic as extremely dated and criticized its portrayal of romance, calling it creepy and weird.
I never wanted to come off as me being ungrateful for the opportunities I have. I can also be having the greatest time and simultaneously wishing people would stop sending me death threats.
These comments struck a nerve with fans who had grown up cherishing Snow White as a timeless tale. For many, Zegler's dismissive tone felt like an insult to both the original creators and the generations of viewers who had loved the story. Instead of softening her remarks or clarifying her intentions, Zegler continued to lean into her critiques, doubling down on her belief that the original film was problematic by today's standards. Disney, rather than distancing itself from these comments, allowed them to go unchallenged, effectively aligning itself with Zegler's views and alienating its loyal fan base in the process. As the controversy around Zegler grew, Disney attempted damage control by sending her on a press tour to promote the film. Unfortunately, this strategy did little to ease tensions. Fans were quick to notice that Zegler's newfound praise for the project seemed insincere, especially after her viral critiques. Her earlier comments had already left a lasting impression, and audiences weren't convinced by her sudden change of heart. To make matters worse, Zegler's portrayal of Snow White in the promotional material appeared brash and condescending, a far cry from the kind-hearted, gentle princess that audiences had adored for decades. The more fans saw, the more they questioned why Disney had strayed so far from the original character's charm. The situation took another turn for the worse when a 2022 interview resurfaced, in which Zegler admitted that as a child, she had avoided the animated Snow White because the film had scared her. She described the movie as extremely dated in its portrayal of women and claimed that the remake would redefine the phrase fairest of them all to focus on justice rather than beauty. While some saw this as a progressive update, others viewed it as yet another attempt to undermine the legacy of the original film. Social media platforms, particularly TikTok, were soon flooded with backlash. Users compared Zegler's comments to those of Halle Bailey, the star of Disney's The Little Mermaid remake. Bailey had celebrated the original story while embracing her role with grace and humility, earning praise for her respectful approach. In contrast, Zegler's dismissive attitude felt like a rejection of everything that had made the original Snow White so beloved. One viral comment summed up the sentiment perfectly. Disney found a way to cast someone for Snow White whose entire personality on a marketing tour is "I hate Snow White." Fans were left asking a fundamental question. How could someone who didn't appreciate Snow White as a child and still seemed to harbor reservations successfully embody one of Disney's most iconic characters? But this controversy wasn't just about Zegler's personal feelings toward the original film. It pointed to a larger issue with Disney's approach to reimagining its classic stories. Fans felt that the studio was more concerned with making political statements and appealing to modern sensibilities than with honoring the magic of the original films. This disconnect between Disney and its audience led to a massive backlash, with many openly rooting for the film's villain, the evil queen, rather than Snow White herself. As one fan put it, "At this point, I'm rooting for the evil queen. She's the only one who looks compelling." Even former Disney Imagineers have criticized the project, with some suggesting that the studio should skip a theatrical release altogether and quietly drop the film on Disney Plus to avoid further embarrassment. This sentiment was echoed by Joe Rogan, who weighed in on the controversy during one of his podcast episodes. Rogan suggested that releasing the film directly to Disney Plus might be the best way for the company to avoid another wave of backlash, noting that the negativity surrounding the film was only growing. But the drama surrounding Snow White and Zegler's involvement doesn't stop there. In a recently resurfaced interview, Zegler spoke out about her experience with online harassment, framing herself as a victim of relentless public scrutiny. While it's true that actors often face harsh criticism, Zegler's repeated controversies have made it difficult for many to sympathize with her. Every few weeks, it seems, she says or does something that reignites the outrage, keeping the upcoming Snow White film in the headlines for all the wrong reasons. In one particularly divisive incident, Zegler took to Instagram to express her outrage over the 2024 election results, where Donald Trump defeated Vice President Kamala Harris. In a now-deleted post, Zegler admitted to being heartbroken, writing, "I hope Trump voters, Trump supporters, and Trump himself never know peace." These comments, though passionate, alienated a significant portion of the public and added to the growing list of controversies surrounding the actress. Critics labeled her comments as unhinged and argued that she was becoming a liability for Disney. Some even demanded that the studio shelve the Snow White project altogether, claiming that Zegler's involvement was toxic to the brand. Rather than back down, Zegler doubled down in a follow-up post, calling the election results a symptom of a deep, deep sickness in the United States, and criticizing Trump supporters for subscribing to what she described as a foolish sense of security, masculinity, and intelligence. These remarks only further inflamed the debate, with critics accusing her of alienating even moderate audiences. Zegler's controversies haven't been limited to her political views. In another viral moment, she performed a dramatic reading of Britney Spears' tweets during the pop star's public feud with her sister, Jamie Lynn Spears. While Zegler likely intended the reading to be lighthearted, fans of Britney found it tone-deaf, given the gravity of the number-free Britney movement. Zegler's public grievances didn't stop there. She also famously complained about not being invited to the 2022 Academy Awards, despite starring in West Side Story, a film that earned 7 nominations, including Best Picture. While some sympathized with her disappointment, others found her social media outburst unprofessional, noting that many actors in similar situations handle such matters more gracefully. With all of these controversies stacked against her, Zegler remains a polarizing figure. Fans and critics alike are left wondering whether Disney will ultimately cut ties with the actress, or if the company will continue to weather the storm, hoping that the backlash will eventually die down. So far, Disney's attempts to mitigate the drama surrounding Snow White have only backfired. Recently, they released a new trailer for the film, only to pull it down shortly after its debut. The original trailer had garnered over 1.4 million dislikes, and the company may have been trying to avoid another wave of negative press. However, the decision to yank the new teaser sparked its own round of speculation, adding even more fuel to the fire. Leaked set photos from 2022 revealed Disney's controversial reimagining of the Seven Dwarfs, replacing them with a diverse group of performers of varying heights and body types. While Disney claimed to have consulted with the dwarfism community to avoid perpetuating harmful stereotypes, many fans felt that the damage had already been done. At this point, it seems like many are openly rooting for the film to fail. The question remains, will Disney stick to its guns and move forward with the release of Snow White? Or will the studio decide to cut its losses and distance itself from Zegler entirely? Whatever happens next, One thing is clear, the Snow White controversy is far from over. With each new development, the backlash only grows, leaving Disney in an increasingly difficult position. What do you think Disney should do next? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And while you're here, don't forget to like, subscribe, and check out our other videos for more updates on this and other breaking stories.